This episode of On the Record is brought to you by Associated Equipment Distributors.
Hello everyone, Mike Lessiter here with Farm Equipment and Ag Equipment Intelligence. We're in Dallas, Texas this week on location for the annual Farm Equipment Manufacturers Association meeting. Welcome to On the Record, and here's a quick look at what's happening in the farm equipment market.
Deere & Company remains confident about producing to demand during fiscal year 2025, J.P. Morgan analysts reported, following a virtual meeting with Deere Director of Investor Relations Josh Beal in early October. The analysts expect Deere's North American production could be down 10 to 15% next year, with pricing flattish, which they said would drive decremental margin down to the typical 25 to 40% versus the greater than 40% seen during fiscal year 2024. According to the report, less than 50% of the field inventory of 100-plus horsepower tractors in North America are Deere units, which is lower than Deere's overall market share in the region. North American large ag equipment inventory remains a cause for concern, the JPM analyst said, which could drive OEMs to underproduce versus retail at least through the first half of 2025, before retail sales start lapping negative comparisons in the second half of the year. The analysts also expect Deere's high decremental margin to improve in fiscal year 2025, largely due to adjustments from its peak production levels. Those adjustments are based on layoffs and factory disruption inefficiencies, compounded by significant wage inflation in North America from the 6-year UAW agreement, they said. They added, however, next year is expected to see more stable production levels, reducing inefficiencies, while the UAW contract's step-up year in 2024 will not repeat. This week's dealers on the move include Acme Equipment and Champlain Valley Equipment. Kubota dealer Acme Equipment, a division of Acme Tools, has acquired the Kubota dealership rights for the Bismarck-Mandan region in North Dakota from North Plains Equipment in Mandan, North Dakota. Acme Equipment is converting an existing building to house the new location. This is the dealership's 6th Kubota location. New Holland and Kubota dealer Empire Tractor notified customers that it's merging with Vermont-based Champlain Valley Equipment effective November 1st. Empire Tractor operates 5 stores in New York. The combined organization will have 11 stores in Vermont and New York. All stores will operate under the Champlain Valley Equipment name. Now here's Noah Newman with the latest from the Technology Corner.
Thank you very much, Kim. So many precision specialists can finally start catching their breath as harvest season begins to wind down across many parts of the U.S. Last week, I had the chance to shadow Dave Thompson in Amboy, Illinois. He's a precision farming specialist with Case IH dealer Johnson Tractor. He tells me most of his customers were done with harvest by the middle of October. Dave says they're way ahead of schedule, and he'll be able to focus a little more on sales now with the extra time on his hands. So I asked him, what's the biggest hurdle you have to clear when selling new technology to customers?
Cost. I really honestly run into that more than anything. It's always seems to be related to cost. Good idea, that sounds good, and then you tell them roughly what that's going to cost, and they're kind of they're kind of done at that point, so to speak. That would be my probably number one sales loss right there, is just simply cost of some of the kits or equipment. Or my sales, I know, are down. I believe correlates right to the market prices. The farmers, their price is down, so they're not going to spend money on things that they don't feel that they can be without. They're not going to spend money on it. Even I'll go as far as to say I think some of my service calls are even down. Guys they're just dealing, they're just, we can just drive it, or so.
Just because everyone's budgets are a little bit tighter?
Yeah, I think budgetary wise, I think these guys are struggling a little. Or no, I shouldn't say struggling, but the purse strings have been tightened up.
And we'll have much more from Dave in an upcoming Day in the Cab feature coming soon to precisionfarmingdealer.com, so definitely be on the lookout for that. In the Technology Corner, I'm Noah Newman. Back to you, Kim.
Thanks, Noah. With grain prices continuing to remain low, dairy provides a bit of optimism for equipment sales for dealers and manufacturers alike. Speaking at World Dairy Expo on October 4th in Madison, Wisconsin, Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack said USDA is expecting 2024 to be the third highest export year for dairy products. In fact, he said 2021 to 2024 may be a record for exports in terms of a 4-year time frame. The future of exports for dairy is bright, he said. Year over year, U.S. dairy exports modestly improved in August, with gains in several major product categories, according to the latest data from the U.S. Dairy Export Council. During a panel discussion at World Dairy Expo, Krista Harden, President and CEO of the U.S. Dairy Export Council, said dairy exports have become a critical part of dairy demand. In fact, 17% of U.S. milk production is exported. CoBank reports that at $76 billion in annual U.S. sales, the dairy aisle stands as the largest category in retail. CoBank reports that over the last 3 years, dairy retail sales have grown at a rate of 15.4% or $10.1 billion. And it added that growth hasn't been driven by the recent price inflation. With dairy pricing better than cash grains, there's opportunity for equipment sales for products like spreaders, balers, forage harvesters, and some tractors. Greg Petrus, president of Kuhn North America, says the dairy sector is giving them some optimism.
The dairy industry has been a pleasant surprise this year. We thought that margins for our dairymen were going to be a lot lower than they are, and we're seeing some nice pickup in potential margins the second half of this year because we're seeing better prices. It's all about supply and demand, of course, and I think dairies had done a good job balancing the supply and demand aspect of the industry, and because of that, it's rebounding. And so we're very, as we round out this year and go into 2025, we're a little bit optimistic about demand coming out of that industry for Kuhn products.
Used equipment pricing is continuing on its downward trend. According to the latest dealer sentiments report, dealers reported used equipment pricing was down 2% year over year in August. Combine pricing is down 5% year over year, and according to the report, has been hovering between down 4% and down 7% all year. Row crop tractor pricing is down 3%. Iron Solutions' latest used equipment trends report shows track row crop tractors continuing on a steep decline. The 12-month moving average is at its lowest point since the third quarter of 2021, the report says. Iron Solutions reports that these machines are among the most expensive to purchase and maintain within the row crop category, and their price tag seems to be pushing buyers away, further compounding the downward trend. Dealers are stuck with machines that are difficult to move without steep discounts. This week's DataPoint is brought to you by the 2025 Ag Equipment Intelligence Executive Briefing. The latest USDA Census of Agriculture data show that just under 55 million acres of cropland in the contiguous United States was irrigated in 2022. This was the lowest level since 1992 and a decrease of roughly 3 million acres from the last census in 2017, when irrigated cropland reached a record high of 58 million acres. The decline was driven largely by decreases in the mountain region, northern plains, and the southern plains. During 2022, these regions experienced severe widespread drought conditions and other factors such as restricted water supplies throughout the western United States, which broadly affected irrigated acreage. As always, we welcome your feedback. You can send comments and story suggestions to kschmidt@lestermedia.com. Until next time, I'm Kim Schmidt. Thanks for joining us.